In the previous step 1, we talked about the semantic namespace, also known as the standard server interface. The highlights of step 2 will cover the difference between the two server interfaces, followed by an overview of the properties of the server. Then finally a review of some of the security settings that can help with access management of the server data. So to demonstrate the difference between these two interfaces, I like to use Unified Automation or UAExpert. It's a free tool. So here you can see I've added a server a few times, but let's just practice again with the custom discovery here. I'm going to type in my IP address. We also give it the port number that's been configured. Again, I'll practice a few times, but to ensure that the connection's made when you open the topic here, you'll see the connection and the different ways that we can sign in. Again, we're going to try the unsecure for now. And then we press the connect button. Notice we browse the OPC UA server. And I'll go ahead and expand each tab just so we can get a quick peek. This is the standard server interface. Note the instance data at the top of the I, Q, and M data folders. This is the semantic namespace feature that we enabled earlier. We will get all the PLC tags, data blocks, methods within the CPU as they are accessible. For example, if you want to restrict the tag accessibility of data access by the OPC UA server, the unchecking of this access is driven here, and by default will need to be modified otherwise. Think about the standard server interface as being the OPC UA server with an easy button. The next consideration is to actually build your own custom interface. You can build your own custom interface by expanding the OPC UA communication section under the project tree. Here you want to visit Server Interface, and we'll add a new one. So from the left to the right you have the OPC UA server interface, as well as on the right the OPC UA elements. The elements end up being what's inside and available from the PLC. So from before where we turned on the clock and memory bytes, we can see that in the default tag table we have tags exposed that we can use. So we'll drag one over. Now in practice, what we could do is look at our main and note that there's no code being written currently. So let's go ahead and download. And finish. Now I'm going to rebrowse using the tool. And notice that we have this extra section for server interfaces. Just expanding the previous sections to show that they still have the object data, but you will not find the semantic namespace here anymore. So as we expand the server interface 1, we can now find the clock byte. And when we view it, even though there's no code running, we can still evaluate. The PLC is still running, the OPC UA is still reporting. So the next section is to highlight what it looks like to update tags. I wish to add a global data block. And within the global DB, I'd like to place a spot for the clock byte coming from the client. This is a setup for later, but more intentionally for us to be able to drag a tag from a global DB. Another type of tag to show off is going to be an array type. Here I'm going to choose reals, and I'm going to increase this number quite a bit. And another one's going to be that we create a user-defined data type. So if we go in the PLC and we go under the section for UDTs or PLC data types, you can see we already have some available. I'm going to add a new one. Create a bunch of data. Again, repeat with the real. Overwrite. Really good tool to drag it. Again, if we want to restrict accessibility because it is now a UDT, we can individually pick. In this method, it applies to all in terms of accessibility. So keep these in mind. Here you can see I called it user data type 1. Could rename this to something more purposeful. Here's type reals. And then when we expand, we can see that I have the data type. Now let's compile it. And we'll go back and we're going to check the interface. You can see that because I compiled, it's now available. Again, we're just going to drag these over now. More of a demonstration of the different types of combinations of data types that you can combine. For more details about all the different data types, please check the OPC UA specification, but we can also do a consistency check within TIAPortal. So if we navigate to the properties area in the info, you can see that we compiled without errors. Now if you use data types or you create conditions that do error, the consistency check is pretty good about pointing those out. I'm back at UAExpert and I'm going to rebrowse. Here I'll expand the server interface again. Notice I still have the clock byte. Checking the server, let's go ahead and download. And notice it flags restart of the OPC UA server. These are due to preconditions of where I'm manipulating tags within the PLC that are bound to the accessibility setting. So once we're back, we can go ahead and rebrowse again. Open the objects, open the server interface, and notice our new tags. I've got the clock byte. Let's go ahead and look at the client clock byte. Of course, it has no value. Here's the reals, and then UDTs. Now from before, I showed the event viewer. I'm not going to highlight this heavily, but in this browser, we could easily add that by dragging over this server to the server objects. And then in this section, we'd be able to see the alarms. Here I'm testing with PLC Sim. I'm going to go ahead and place the PLC and stop. Again, you can see the CPU status message as we've already highlighted in step 1. So let's update some values here in the server. And then I'm going to try to change this second one in the client. So again, my client is this tool UAExpert. And I click write, then we get an update. Notice it shows here, and then we also update here. The last few details to arrange before completion is to adjust the access levels as required to secure the tag from users. Notice this clock byte here, this is the internal one. It doesn't really make sense to write to this, so we should make it read only. And then these I'll leave alone. Notice these are read and write. In the section for OPC UA, we expand this and go to the server area. The server address ends up being the namespace location, where we can use the port address from the general section. We've already briefly discussed the semantic namespace. Now for the general settings, the max session timeout set for the 30 seconds. Subscriptions that we'll come back and address later. So it's good to note the difference between the sampling and the publishing. Sampling being the interval between the PLC and the OPC UA server. And the publishing interval is the interval between the OPC UA server and the OPC UA client. I've also turned off the OPC UA type definitions. This ends up adding extra UDT space or tags within the OPC UA server and really is no longer needed unless you're dealing with previous versions. Here you can see that later I could come back and check none in terms of security. And even apply certificate settings that are alternatives, such as using TIAPortal or Certificate Management Server. It's a section where we can actually go in and pick our certificates or even build new ones. So as I add a new one, what I could suggest if this is something you wish to do, just make sure that you're adjusting the valid from date to at least hours, if not a whole day before the current date and time that you're at. This really will help troubleshoot or solve problems just in case PLC times or even your computer times are just slightly off. Clicking around to show a few settings. Finally, when you're done, here I'm going to hit cancel, but OK would have forced the new server certificate. I can also enforce trusted clients. Here I could add a list of them. Alright, just a simple test here. We're going to test out disabling the guest authentication, and then we also want to use a username and password. This method is really just a simplistic way of managing the username and passwords here inside of TIAPortal for access to the OPC UA server. Alright, here you can see I'm also going to uncheck no security, compile. Oh, that was the simulation button, and we'll compile and download. Load. Start the module. Now here with UAExpert, we'll add a new. Notice the none went away, and then we have signs. So I'm going to hit cancel, accidentally click too much. Here I'd like to use the username and password we just created. No more anonymous. Alright, we've connected. It's a great time to point out that the second and third steps have been modified in order to keep the videos to a meaningful length. The next step 3 will work to program the OPC UA client PLC for read and write interaction with the OPC UA server.